Hello all, Andrea with I Dream of Crafting. This is going to be a tutorial on how to make a duct tape rose pen. I have three styles here that I actually tried tonight before I made this video. So this is the rose I usually make. It's all level. If you added more to this is 28 petals, which is what my standard rose pens are. But if you added more and more rose to this, it would get bigger and bigger, and it would flare out more. But obviously that would be, you would have to cut more tape. But this is my standard. This is also 28 petals, but this is every row, each row has 4, and that goes for all of them. So each row of 4 is slightly above the one before it. So, and it kind of, circles up so that it's a more cone shape. It kind of looks more like a rose than this one. I still like both of these though. This is a new one. Well, not new, but I haven't tried this method yet and I don't like it. I won't be doing these anymore unless someone asks me to make it like this. It looks kind of like a pine cone. But I wanted to see what it would look like if I dropped the exact opposite of this one. Instead of going above, I dropped each row a little bit slightly below the row before it. So this middle part is your, is your first row and this is your last. And yeah, I don't like it at all. So we won't be doing that one again. But those are 3 styles that I tried out tonight. And so I will be showing you, I might do 2 of them, I'm not sure, or maybe I'll do another video of this, but I'll be doing one of these tonight. I'm not sure which one, to be quite honest with you, but we'll figure that out. So the supplies you will need are a cutting board, a ruler, preferably a metal one, or one with metal on it, an X-Acto knife. You could also use scissors if you want, but it's not necessary for this. A pen, obviously, doesn't matter what it is. I would steer away from clicksters. They're very hard to use, and this method that I'm going to show you will not work with a clickster. So, just a regular pen, black, blue, red, whatever you want to use. And, of course, duct tape. I usually use either this dark green or this light green, depending on what tape will be my top, my actual rose. But I have made rose pens where the stem, if you will, is like black or, a complementary color. Be creative. Make your pen, your rose pen, however you wish. But the, whatever colors you choose, the instructions will be the same. So, that is all you need, and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to cover your pen. And you want to cut a strip that is long enough to go around your pen, but not, where the cap is. So make sure your cap is on, and you want to measure from the end of your cap to at least the end of your pen. I like to go about, I don't know, about a half an inch above, and you'll see why. It forms a little bud. So take whatever color you're going to use for your stem, and we're gonna roll it out. Now your pen may be different, a different length, so I can't really tell you, what to cut. It's not, like a definite. So just measure your pen from where the cap is to where the end of the pen is. So this pen, it's let's see, what is it made by? Papermate. Papermate. This is a Papermate pen. And it's about 4 and almost 4.5 inches long. So I'm going to cut my strip of tape at 5 inches. Alright. Keep that. We're going to need that tape one more time. Now the easiest way I found to do this is lay your tape sticky side up. Take your pen with the cap still on and go right to where the cap is on your tape and set it down. Make sure that the pen is even. You don't want to put it on crooked. Once you get it on, take your cap off, smooth this down, and I'm going to roll it towards you so I can do this right. Just take your hands on both, both your hands on it, and then just roll it. That's all there is to it. The faster you do it, the easier and the straighter it'll be. You don't want to like go really, really slow, just really quick. Now, sorry, that's my iPad doing that. Now you have this open part right here above the cap. Just pinch it. Oops. Just pinch it to close it. So now you're left with something like that. And then when we start adding our petals, you're going to fold it like this so it forms a little bud. So that's what I like to do. Not everyone does that, but that's my little take on it. So you see, there we go, that I already have all my pieces here folded for the rose part. I like to separate them. This is what I do. You don't have to do it, but I like to separate my last 8 petals from the rest of my 20 petals. So there's 20 over here, 28 over here, or 8 over here, sorry. That's just my take on it. You'll see why I separate them later on when we get to that part. Like, once again, you don't have to do it this way. There are so many different ways to do a rose pen. It's honestly not even funny. So, just experiment and see what you like. So I'm going to show you the folding technique. So if you're following my instructions, my tutorial, then you're going to need 28 of your petals for the rose, and they're 2 by 2, and you're going to need 4 2 by 2 pieces for your leaves, which are these right here. So you're gonna need 4 of those. So if you're using a handy dandy mat that has some cutting or some measurements on it, roll your tape out and cut at the 8-inch line. And there you go. That is all the tape you will need once you have this all cut out. Also, for cutting out the 28, sorry, I keep jumping around, but to cut off the 28 petals, lay your tape out. If you have a mat that goes to 18 inches, roll your tape out 3 times to 18 inches, and then you're going to need 1 strip that's 2 inches long. So if you cut everything at once like I do, you want 1, 2, 3 strips, full strips of 18 inches, and then 1 that is 2 inches. So you want a total of 20 inches of tape. And you're going to cut them in 2-inch segments, which is what we're going to do with this green tape. So you cut it at 8. So 2 and 4 and 6. Alright. Now, what you want to do, now this goes for the leaves and the petals. This is the folding technique you're going to need for this whole entire flower. So, if you've seen my rose keychain, this is very similar, except for the fact that you're working with bigger pieces, so in a way it's easier. So I will repeat this though if you haven't seen the rose keychain tutorial. This tape, duct tape, is not completely, totally 2 inches in width. Excuse me. It is actually 1.88 inches in width. So every time you cut out something like a square, it's not completely a square. So what I like to do is every piece is going to have a side that is slightly shorter than one side. So I like to find that long side, and I like to put my fingers on that corner of that long side, and straight across will be that other long side. And I like to fold on that long side. I think it just looks better. It gives you a fatter petal than if you folded it on the short side. That would give you a taller petal. Now if you mixed or matched those, that would be kind of cool. Sometimes when I'm doing keychains, I like to start with the tall petals. I'll do like 4 tall petals and I'll put it in the middle to start it off, and then I'll fold it like I just showed you here to kind of give the flower some depth, you know. and dimension to it. But for all of these pens that I'm making for the craft fair, I'm just going to make them all one dimension. I'm not going to, you know, do tall and little. Plus, it doesn't really look all that great with the big petals. So once again, find the long side, and then just fold one into the middle and your other corner into the middle. Smooth it out, and there you go. So we're going to do this 2 more times, and then these will be your leaves. These will be the last thing you put on your flower. These will be completely seen, so try and make them as, you know, best as you can. If you screw up on some of these, it's not going to matter too much, because you can just put them further in on the flower and you won't see them. You know, you won't see that in any imperfections, as long as your tops are, you know, good to go. But these last 8 and these last 4 for your leaves, yeah, you want to make them pretty nice, because they'll be seen completely. So, so those are all of your petals and your leaves. So now we're going to get started building our flower. Now, probably the hardest thing about this whole rose making business is the first 4. So, because it doesn't go, you know, exactly like you think. So, for mine, I have this little end. So I fold it over on itself so it meets the top of the pen. Then I take my first rose here, my first petal, I mean, and I place it on here so that, you know, it's still bent. And I place it, I don't know, about a 1/2 inch. I mean, you can go up as far as you want, but I put it about a 1/2 inch from the top. Anywhere from a 1/2 to a 1/4 from the top. You want to make sure you're straight. Now, what you want to do is you want to carefully wrap this completely around. Just like that. Now you're forming your bud, the very center of your flower. Now, you want to go straight across. You want to try and keep it as even as you can. You know, so the tops line up. Once again, just fold around, smooth out. I like to pinch the tops of each, especially in the center of the flower. When I'm first building it, I like to pinch them so they'll flare out. It kind of just makes, you know, the flower sit better as you add, as you add the subsequent petals to it. So each row, even the center one, each row gets 4 petals. And like I said, these last 8 are going to be a little bit different, but not too much. It's going to be the same. So there's the first 4 petals. Now I like to go in between. You can do anything you want though. You can line them up straight down. You know, you can line them up straight with the previous row. You know, you can just go crazy with it. You know, put them randomly around. However you want to do it. I like to put them in between each other. Now here is where you would decide how your flower is going to be. I'm going to just make this all even, so it's going to look like this one. If you wanted your flower to look like this, more cone shape, this is where you would start putting them a little bit above the row before. I will do a probably just a time lapse of that one so you can see, because once you get this one down, then you'll be able to understand what I'm doing with the other one. So just make sure it's all even. I like to take my palm and just, you know, see if all the tips are touching. So the easiest way is to put it in between, and then instead of trying to go like this right next to it, flip it completely 90 degrees and go across from it, so you can look down at it as you're placing your other petal, and then you can try, you know, that's the easiest way I have found to keep them somewhat level. So then you want to flip it again another 1/4 turn, put it in between, trying to keep it in line, and you go around and then flip it over again and go right across from that other one. If it doesn't line completely up with your center, that's okay, because your center is so much smaller than everything else. So just do your best to make it even and just continue on. It's just going in between the row before it, trying to get it all even if that's the pattern you're going for. And at this point in the video, it's just more of the same, so I'll probably fast forward from starting now until we get to these last 8. Alright, so now we're at these last 8. Now, instead of going in between, you know, the line, the one before, I like to end my last row by going completely around. I complete it by putting them, instead of placing one and then turning it 90 degrees and placing one, I do exactly what I told you not to do, is I go just right next to each other, and I try to make the outside, the last layer, as full as I can get it, because if you can continue keeping the pattern like this, but it's going to turn out, and please excuse this really bad looking rose, this is one of my first roses, so it's not the best, but if you continue on the path, of this one, you're gonna end up with holes like this. For this one, it's not too bad because it's recessed, but for something like this, it just ends up looking wonky. So what I like to do for all of my rose pens and rose that's the wrong one. All my rose pens and rose keychains is I like to add kind of like a finishing layer. The last layer, all as filled in as I can get it. Sometimes I even cut more than I need, or I'm sorry, I cut extra strips just to make it look full on the outside. So you can start going in between, but like I said, I find it easier not to go across because then I just lose my place. I just go in between as best as I can. And this, like I said, this just gives the flower a finished look, gives it a full look, so I like doing this. I think it makes it look better, because then you don't end up with any spots. So, and this is where I usually lose my place, is doing this last row, but it is worth it in the end. At least I think it is. So that's about it. I would probably add another petal to this or two because it's a little shy on this end, but just be careful with adding so many, before you know it, you have a huge one trying to even it all out. So get it as round as you possibly can. When you're happy with it, we're going to work on the leaves. The leaves go the same way of how you've been placing your petals, just down here on the stem. So if you went with this, where they're all even, you're going to have a pretty big slope to deal with. So I like to slope it as much as I can. And then for this pattern, I like to put the sticky right at the edge. And then I go around. And yes, it curls a bit, but I find that that's probably the best. For if you're doing a cone like this, as you can see, it is sloped already. So this would be easy. You can just lay it right on there. and it lays really nice for you. But this one you kind of have to play with it a bit. So for this one I do go across as well, just to try and keep things even. And then I fill in on the other two sides. And these are leaves, so you don't have to get them all precise, like this one's lower than this one, you know. But how I look at it is they're leaves. Leaves don't always, you know, grow straight. So if you wanted to, you can take another piece of green tape and, you know, go around, like a little piece, you know, and go around to cover that if you wanted to. I find that if you you know, put a strip like this, counter to how all the other tape is laying, I find that piece fairly quickly unwinds itself. Alright everyone, that is our finished duct tape rose pen. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Like I said in the video, I will be doing probably a time lapse of how to do this style. So keep your eyes open for that one. It probably will be maybe tomorrow or the day after. So if you like this video, if it helped you, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, or requests, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will get to you as soon as I can. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.